The following tape is a segment originating from Ed Parker's videos on advanced concepts and principles of Kempo. It is the first tape of his series on sophisticated basics, which stresses methods of study as well as intricacies of stances. As you view the material, take note of the methods used to create interest in viewing Ed Parker's Kempo from new and varied perspectives. Comprehending the relationship of precise categorizing of basic ingredients, you will make conscious of the importance of progressive learning as well as recognize the value of Ed Parker's unique discoveries. As a result of his findings, his system has undeniably been recognized as American Kempo. Let us now hear from Senior Grandmaster Ed Parker himself.
Hi, I'm Ed Parker. I've organized the following material on basics into what I feel is a logical and sequential order of priorities to ensure viewer comprehension. Prioritize subjects in their proper order is a means of increasing retention. American Kempo is divided into three major divisions: basics, self-defense, and freestyle or sparring. Each are further broken down into subdivisions. Technically speaking, basics are all physical moves or gestures executed with specific intent or purpose. Depending upon how these moves or gestures are employed, they can be defensive, offensive, or can accomplish both purposes simultaneously. When applied, they can be used to oppose, ride, borrow, or steal force, feint, sprain, dislocate, fracture, rupture, maim, rip, tear, claw, hook, poke, slice, rake, buckle, check, maneuver, trip, grab, lock, twist, pinch, butt, bite, throw, pull, along with numerous other accomplishments. Stated differently, basics are the fundamentals of Kempo that aid in the development of the mind and body in its preparation for physical combat. Like other fields of learning, its roots stem from a logical and systematic foundation. Paralleling our written language, each move learned, whether defensive or offensive, can be considered an alphabet of motion. When alphabets of motion are combined, they form words of motion. Combinations of words of motion then form sentences of motion. Through my many years of experience, I have developed methods to aid you in your understanding of basics. As mentioned previously, comparable rudiments of our spoken language can be employed to boost our understanding of Kempo. Learning moves in isolated steps is like learning words phonetically. For example, when we learn to pronounce the words cat, bat, and rat, we learn to say them phonetically as cat, bat, and rat. This method of pronouncing and enunciating our words taught us how to become articulate with our vocabulary. Likewise, motion learned in isolated steps teaches us to become articulate with our movements. It teaches us how to pronounce each move correctly, distinctly, and consistently. Only after thoroughly learning each move phonetically can we combine moves to formulate words of motion, sentences of motion, and even paragraphs of motion. Another method that can be employed is by the numbers. Teaching basics via phonetics is like teaching movements by the numbers. Utilizing this method accentuates correct hand or foot positions. It additionally teaches the value of torque, complete utilization of body weight, and all other factors necessary to complete and or maximize a move. The by the number method is not to be used in a realistic situation. Once your moves are learned phonetically and maximum power is experienced, numbered stages are eliminated and direct action takes precedent. Just as we do not speak to each other phonetically on a daily basis, likewise, phonetics of motion are also dropped during the course of higher learning and or actual combat. Another method is the use of the clock principle. I use a number of visual aids, tangible as well as intangible, to make learning easier. One method is the use of the clock principle. This is a mental visual aid used to teach you the proper positioning of your feet and hands in the performance of your basics, forms, or they call it basics in motion, self-defense techniques, freestyle techniques, etc. For example, before starting a form, you'll be asked to picture yourself standing in the middle of a large clock that has been placed on the floor. The wall you face when first starting represents 12 o'clock. To your right, 3 o'clock. Directly behind of you, 6 o'clock. And to your left, 9 o'clock. As you move from your starting position, you are to mentally picture where the other numbers on the clock are, thus giving you a more precise sense of direction when performing. This principle also applies while learning self-defense techniques. 12 o'clock is the starting direction, regardless of where the attack stems from, flank, rear, or otherwise. To use another example, you may be facing 12 o'clock with your opponent attacking you from 3 o'clock. You may be taught to have your left foot step back to 9 o'clock as you face your opponent who's attacking from 3 o'clock. 3 viewpoints are involved here. The original direction in which you were facing, that's 12 o'clock, the angle from which your opponent attacked you, that was 3 o'clock, and the correct position of your foot, 9 o'clock, which is necessary to thwart the attack. In short, the clock principle is a directional reference used to aid you in selecting the proper direction when attacked, retaliating, or working your basics. To further enhance retention, I employ the mathematic and geometric symbol concepts. These are visual aids that can be used tangibly or intangibly using actual illustrations so that you can see it, or through verbalizing a mental picture instead. There are 3 mathematic and 3 geometric symbols that can enhance your learning. The 3 mathematic symbols are the minus sign, used in subtraction, the plus sign, used in addition, and the times sign, used in multiplication. The three geometric symbols are the circle, square, and triangle. All of these symbols will be used periodically throughout my videos to simplify your learning. Both mathematic and geometric symbol concepts and the clock principle can be used interchangeably, thus providing similar results and benefits. For example, visualize yourself standing again in the middle of a big clock. As you'll notice, a line drawn from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock will give you a minus sign. Superimpose it with a line from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock and it will create a plus sign. Draw a straight line from midpoint of 7 and 8 to midpoint of 1 and 2, then superimpose a straight line from midpoint of 10 and 11 to midpoint of 4 and 5, and you will have a times or multiplication sign. Connect all of the numbers with an arc, and you will have a circle. Draw 4 lines within the clock's circumference, and you will develop a square. Divide the square in half from corner to corner, and you will form 2 triangles which could be condensed to 1. Another value that the clock, mathematic, and geometric concepts offer, other than aiding you in determining proper angles and directions, is the help it gives you in proportionately fitting the art to the specific measurements of your anatomy. Examples of proportionately fitting the art to the specific measurements of your anatomy will be demonstrated in this tape. A more sophisticated visual aid encompassing all of these methods, in addition to others, can be found in the universal pattern. This pattern is the most important catalyst contributing to my creative knowledge. Through it and by it, I've been able to extensively structure American Kempo. It has opened up untold avenues that have given me answers beyond my comprehension. Because of it, I have learned to effortlessly convert embryonic moves to sophisticated moves and to differentiate between the terms opposite and reverse, especially when applying them defensively as well as offensively. To get a trifle idea of how it can be applied, visualize yourself in the middle of a completed universal pattern. As you can observe, the directions, angles, and orbits that you can pursue are numerous. If you were to take 1/9 of the pattern, pull out some of the smaller patterns contained within, a number of benefits can be derived. There are overlapping circles using both arms, which can be used as an exercise or employed on a partner. The horizontal figure 8 using a single arm can also be used as an exercise or employed on a partner. Following a path of action from an extended outward block into an inward forearm block, use a pattern of a shaded square. As you can observe from the few samples shown, it would take a number of tapes to explain the universal pattern in its entirety. However, other applications can be viewed throughout my series of tapes. I am convinced that basics can be more thoroughly understood, be of greater value, and be more quickly learned if teaching methods encouraged analyzing and comparing past and present life experiences. When you can relate to something or some concept that you're already familiar with, basics become easier to learn. Your having experienced that concept in another field related or not, easy substitution of your newly learned skill. The principles employed in a game of family billiards is a good example. The three major principles are: 1, proper alignment, to sink the ball of your choice into the pocket of your choice using the cue stick and ball. 2, to contemplate positioning the cue ball so that it will again be aligned to make the next shot easy. And 3, should your winning streak end, have the ability to place the cue ball in an awkward position to disallow your opponent from making a clear shot. To cite another example, let us examine the study of our alphabets. We have learned that alphabets can be written in uppercase or lowercase. Of interest, defensive and offensive movements are comparably applied. Let us examine a left punch to your head followed by a right punch to your stomach. To defend yourself, let us use a right extended outward block to the left punch and a right inside downward elbow block to the right punch. You'll find that the blocks are much faster and safer than if we were to use our right fist to block the punches. The parallel here is that the high extended outward block is an uppercase movement, whereby the second block is a lowercase movement. As the examples demonstrated, when your new experiences and/or concepts parallel your old, you can be assured that you're getting closer to understanding the concepts of American Kempo. Another unique teaching technique, which I often employ while teaching basics, is the rearrangement concept. Since many are only interested in obtaining sufficient knowledge of how to cope with average encounters, the rearrangement concept works well. The concept teaches you how 4 basic moves through the rearrangement process can produce 24 possible combinations without using the same combination twice. Knowledge of the rearrangement concept is important because there are no two situations exactly alike in a confrontation. Therefore, to have a set sequence of moves in mind when countering your opponent is unrealistic. The rearrangement concept makes it capable for you to blend with the action as it occurs, even though your knowledge of moves may be limited. It is the expansion of your limited knowledge that will give you the edge. There are 2 rearrangement concepts, the numerical and the alphabetical. The formula in calculating how the numerical rearrangement concept works using 4 moves are as follows. 1 times 2 equals 2. 2 times 3 equals 6. And 6 times 4 equals 24. If you wanted to determine the number of combinations that 5 moves would produce, then multiply 5 times 24, which will give you an answer of 120. 6 times 120 is equal to 720, etc. Please view the tape to see how this concept is applied. To best understand how the numerical rearrangement concept works, let us examine a self-defense technique containing 4 moves and assign each move a number from 1 to 4, assuming that the sequence of 4 moves flows without interruption. Let us assign number 1 to a right inward block executed on the inside of your opponent's right punch. Number 2 to a right chop executed to the right side of your opponent's neck. Number 3 to a right inward horizontal elbow strike to the left side of your opponent's jaw. And number 4 to a right back downward hammer fist strike to your opponent's groin. This sequential flow of movements can be extremely effective if your opponent responds to your action and makes no effort to intentionally or unintentionally obstruct your flow of 4 sequential movements. Let us assume that an opponent does make an effort to defend himself by placing his left hand in a guarding position. If this occurs, let us now see how we can still use the same 4 moves by exercising a simple sequential change employing the numerical rearrangement concept to make it work. Although the sequence of movements will be altered, an uninterrupted flow can still be obtained despite of your opponent's attempt to protect himself. The first move is the same with one exception. Your opponent's left hand is in a guarding position. From move number 1, you can shift into move number 4, then move number 3, and conclude with move number 2. Needless to say, other combinations could be used effectively. The alphabetical rearrangement concept follows the same format used in the formation of words. Let us pick from our alphabetical system, when properly arranged, can create words that are familiar to us. Like the numerical rearrangement concept, limited knowledge of the complete alphabetical system can still prove effective if the rearrangement concept is thoroughly understood. For instance, if you were to only learn the alphabet from A to G, you can still benefit from this limited knowledge, provided you learn that from these 7 letters of the alphabet, you can create words such as add, dab, ace, face, fed, fad, def, etc. When each of these 7 letters are used more than once, words such as deed, dad, feed, etc. can then be created. As you can observe, you can create a surprisingly large number of words, even though your knowledge of the alphabets may be limited. This and the succeeding videos in this series describe the 5 major categories of basics that comprise American Kempo. They are stances, maneuvers, blocks, strikes, and specialized moves and methods. Of the first 4 major divisions, stances are literally postures of defense and offense. Maneuvers are methods of travel and or body positioning to enhance defense or offense. Blocks are methods of defense. And strikes are methods of offense. The 5th division identifies those moves and methods that cannot be categorized under the first 4 divisions and that unquestionably contain individual characteristics of their own. Stances form the foundation of all self-defense and freestyle moves. As we explore them, they are divided into the attention, horse, bow and arrow, kneel, cat, twist, one-leg stance, and specialized. Although the stances in American Kempo may seem unnatural and contrary to conventional methods, they are, nevertheless, relevant against strikes delivered below as well as above the waistline. Stance considerations also encompass the possibility of multiple attacks. Many benefits can be derived from stances. They improve balance, give automatic protection to vulnerable areas, can be used to increase or decrease distance, aid in increasing one's power, assist in buckling, checking, or breaking an opponent's leg, allows for greater maneuverability, enhances an individual's peripheral vision, and much more. Stances can be learned in a variety of ways. The simplest procedure is to learn stationary stances. This method allows you to concentrate on upper body movements only. To include coordinated moves with the lower half of the body when first learning can be frustrating and discouraging. From stationary stances, you must then progress to stance changes while in place. This phase of training incorporates shifting your weight to 1. Increase range, thus making distance an ally, or to 2. Decrease existing range to help increase power, or crowd and jam your opponent. The feet in no way moves other than pivoting from one type of stance to another. The desired distance in either case is determined by the position of the upper body. As observed, in-place stance changes significantly reduces time and contributes to economy of motion. It also increases your ability to counter and attack. The third method is learning stances while moving. When this occurs, they can also be classified as foot and body maneuvers, depending upon what you wish to accomplish, and as circumstances dictate. You can walk, cross over, cross back, slide, shuffle, hop, skip, jump, or leap with them. When combining these methods, stances can be lost in transition, since they are not intended to be held for any length of time, except to help the flow of motion. However, if you were to isolate each move, specific stances would be distinguishable. Through continuous practice, you will execute stance changes in motion with balance, poise, and power. Ultimately, you'll also learn to relax, maintain correct form, and move with effortless speed. Each stance must be tailored to the width, depth, and height of each individual. Ways of discovering the proper width, depth, and height of each stance, employing the mathematic and geometric symbol concept, will be described and demonstrated in this tape. Study these methods thoroughly. They will aid you in making each stance work more effectively for you. The tension stance is a disciplinary stance used to convey instructions. It is also an intro move prior to reacting to a command. Though primarily used for class instructions, it can, on rare occasions, be employed in combat. Like the military and other similar agencies, the feet are placed together, kept flat, with the back straight, head erect, and weight equally distributed between feet. Foot position, feet together, toe-toe, heel-heel. Weight distribution, 50-50. Reason and purpose, to convey instructional information, to teach discipline and respect, and help you to be more attentive. The horse stance is of two types, the training horse and the fighting horse. The training horse is the basic exercise position for learning blocks, punches, kicks, etc., and for warming up. The horse stance is also utilized as a meditating ritual when beginning and closing classes. Why the name? This stance
is called a horse stance because it resembles the position used while riding a horse. The horse stance is frequently used in forms, self-defense techniques, and freestyle techniques as an important stance change. The distance between feet is critical, but it will vary according to you. Generally, slightly wider than your shoulder width. If the feet are too close together, the stance is weakened and poor balance. Likewise, if they are too far apart, stance changes and kicking becomes difficult and maneuverability hampered. The correct method to obtain a horse stance is to bend the knees slightly forward and force out to the sides as though they were being pushed apart. Holding the feet in place, avoid bending the knees too far forward or placing the feet too far apart. The fighting horse is almost identical to the training horse. The difference lies in placing your feet in the direction you are facing. Thus both feet are in line with your direction of focus. Analytical study of the horse stances. Keep your chin up. Relax your shoulders. Keep your head erect and body perpendicular to the ground. Force your knees out and away from you. Place greater stress on the outer portion of your calf muscles. Your feet should be slightly wider than the width of your shoulders. Once the proper width has been determined, bend both of your knees naturally and comfortably, and you will automatically find your proper height. An interesting comparison. The knee can be compared with a shock absorber and should, therefore, be thought of as one. It should remain flexible between moves, remaining stable when and where necessary, and subject to instant directional change. The width, depth, and height of a stance must correspond with your dimensions. To give specific measurements is absurd. The training horse involves height and width only, whereas the dimensions of the fighting horse are restricted to height and depth. The following method can be used to correctly determine dimensions related to you. Place both feet together. Turn both heels out. Turn the toes of both feet out. And conclude by comfortably turning both heels out again. The method just described teaches you how to proportionally find your width. Once determining your width, squat comfortably and you will automatically obtain your proper height. In time, a step to your right or left will be sufficient to find the proper width of your training horse stance. The fighting horse basically has no width. However, to establish a proper depth of your fighting horse, you must first find the width of your training horse on your line of sight. After establishing this, have your head and eyes turn in the direction of your line of sight. Already having obtained the depth of your fighting horse, have both of your knees bend comfortably to establish your correct height. An added help. Please observe the following as a means of correcting the width of your horse stance. As your knees are forced out, they should bow out so that the sides of your calf muscles protrude slightly beyond the width of your ankles. Notice how this angle prevents a foot stomp originating from the top and side of your calf muscle from injuring your foot. Data summation of the training horse stance. Foot position. Feet should be slightly wider than the width of your shoulders. Toes in, heels out. toe, toe, heel, heel. Weight distribution, 50-50. Weight is forced out to the outside edges of your feet. Reason and purpose, to teach stamina and patience. A training stance which allows one to concentrate on hand movements only without being distracted by the synchronization of foot maneuvers. Data summation of the fighting horse stance. Foot position, both feet are pigeon-toed with one foot ahead of as well as directly behind the other. It is like a training horse with the opponent to the flank. Head and eyes are focused to the flank. Weight distribution, 50-50. Knees are forced away from each other. Reason and purpose. Minimize target areas. Allow for a faster shuffle, side or back kick. There are three types of bow and arrow stances: the neutral bow, forward bow, and reverse bow. They all serve useful purposes and should be added to your reservoir of knowledge. Why the name bow and arrow? The bow and arrow stance was named because of the positioning of the stance. As you will notice in the graphic, when a Chinese bow is superimposed on a forward bow stance, they are almost identical. The forward or bent leg forms part of the bow, and the rear or stiff leg represents the arrow. Neutral bow and arrow stance. The neutral bow is a strong stance and presents a small target. Consequently, the neutral bow is a good stance for sparring or when engaged in actual combat. It is also an important stance when executing your forms and self-defense techniques. Notice how the neutral bow places the rear hip closer to the front than the fighting horse. This is a crucial point of difference. It allows faster use of the rear arm and leg. The feet are pointed more toward the front and are parallel with one another instead of pigeon-toed. The knees are still forced out and the weight rests equally on both feet. Although the feet are placed on either side of the center line, they point toward the front, facing the line of sight or your opponent. In comparison, although the fighting horse gives you a distinct defensive advantage, it limits your ability to retaliate effectively. While the neutral bow is not as protective, it is effective and much more versatile when employing defensive and offensive tactics. Analytical study of the neutral bow. Front view. Position your arms so that the right arm covers the upper region and the left arm the middle region. Your feet should be properly placed on either side of the line of sight. Left heel to the left of the line and the right toe to the right of the line. Have your head and eyes face the line of sight. Since the body is almost sideways, it presents a small target. Knees are forced out. The feet are pointed more toward the front and are parallel to each other. Side view. Keep your head erect. Keep your knees flexible. Distribute your weight equally on both feet. Keep the toe of your right foot to the right of your line of sight. Keep the heel of your left foot to the left of your line of sight. Position your arms so that one is high and the other low. Make sure this policy is adhered to when the arms are switched. Keep your back straight. Finding the proper dimensions. To find the proper width of a right neutral bow, have the heel of your left foot line up with the toe of your right foot. Depth can be found by dropping the knee of your left leg so that it is in line with the heel of your right foot. You should be on the ball of your left foot when you plant your knee. Once your width and depth are determined, have both knees bend naturally, and the proper height will be arrived at automatically. Data summation of the neutral bow. Foot position, one foot ahead of the other, utilizing the toe-heel relationship to determine the proper depth. Both feet should run parallel to each other and at an angle of 45 degrees from your opponent. Weight distribution, 50-50. Reason and purpose. Gives you greater mobility, allowing you to retreat or advance with ease. The forward bow and arrow stance is primarily used in a stance change to extend the reach of the rear arm and increase its power. The most important contribution of the forward bow is as a stance change between neutral bows. The form and smoothness of this sequence will largely determine the effectiveness of the rear arm. Since retreating with a forward bow is difficult and exposure to vulnerable areas is more pronounced, the stance is intended to be transitory. A forward bow can be formed from your neutral bow by rotating your rear hip so that it is even with your forward hip. Your front leg does not change, but your rear leg becomes almost stiff as it pushes your rear hip forward. Your rear foot, while still flat, pivots on the ball as the heel is thrust back to a position where the toes point mostly forward. The ground is literally used as a launching pad to push, brace, and support your action. Your weight shifts more to your front leg, but the tendency to lean with your shoulders or stiffen your forward leg must be avoided. To check your form, observe yourself in a mirror. The movement is a rotation of your waist while your back remains straight. Keep your shoulders square and parallel to the mirror, but do not raise your head nor move forward. Analytical study of the forward bow. Front view. Anchor your right elbow. The position of your front leg does not change. It is identical to your right neutral bow. Your head does not raise up, nor does it move forward. Have both of your arms in position to guard your vital areas. Keep your left foot and leg parallel to the line of sight. Top view. Make sure your hips and shoulders are parallel to each other. Focus your eyes straight ahead. Have the heel of your left foot anchored to the ground. Make sure your shoulders are square and parallel to the wall in front of you. Keep your right hand high. Position your left hand low. Make sure your forward or right knee is forced out. Have your right foot turned in. Do not lean forward or back with your shoulders. Keep your rear or left hip forward. Your left leg is kept rigid in this stance. Keep your left foot flat. The toes of your left foot should point forward. Finding the proper dimensions. Finding the proper dimensions for the forward bow are simple. First, find the dimensions of your right neutral bow. Once this has been determined, have the heel of your left foot thrust back by pivoting on the ball of that foot. Push your left hip forward as you stiffen your left leg so that both hips line up with each other. Upon completing this adjustment, all dimensions, width, depth, and height would be established automatically. Data summation of the forward bow. Foot position, one foot is ahead of the other with your right foot at a 45-degree angle from your opponent and your left foot at a 90-degree angle from your opponent. Basically, a toe-heel, heel-knee relationship. Weight distribution, 60-40. 60% of your weight is on the right or forward leg, and 40% is on your left or rear leg. reason, and purpose, gives you greater reach, enhances your power, and allows you a greater foundation with which to brace yourself. It is useful as a leg check, buckle, or break. Reverse bow and arrow stance. The reverse bow and arrow stance is essentially the same as a forward bow, with the head and shoulders turned to the back. As a stance change, the reverse bow serves three primary purposes. One, it creates distance by pivoting away. Two, rotation can increase the power of certain strikes. And three, as the leg stiffens, it can buckle or sweep. Analytical study of the reverse bow, front view. Have your rear arm protect your upper region. Have your forward arm protect your lower region. Keep your rear knee bent. Keep your forward leg stiff. Top view. Make sure your shoulders are parallel to your line of sight. Keep your forward foot flat. The foot position is the same as a forward bow, with the exception that the head and eyes are turned into the opposite direction. Side view. Have your head and eyes turned toward the opposite direction after establishing a forward bow. Keep your forward arm low. Thrust your heel out and then anchor it to the ground. Keep your rear arm high. Keep both feet flat. Finding the proper dimensions. Again, find the proper dimensions for a neutral bow. However, form the neutral bow in the opposite direction of your intended line of sight. Immediately execute a forward bow while facing the same direction. Upon completion of the forward bow, have your head turn in the opposite direction, toward your intended line of sight. This final movement will automatically place you in a reverse bow with all dimensions, width, depth, and height, adjusted to your own specifications. Data summation of the reverse bow. Foot position. One foot is ahead of the other, with the forward foot at a 90-degree angle, heel out, from your opponent, and the rear foot at 45 degrees, heel out. This stance is the opposite or reverse of a forward bow, with your head and eyes turned toward your opponent. Weight distribution, 40-60. 40% of your weight is on the forward leg and 60% on the rear leg. Reason and purpose. Allows one greater distance although remaining in place. Give greater power using opposing force. Is useful as a leg check, buckle, or break. Kneel stances. Kneel stances are of two types, wide and close. The major difference between the wide and close kneels is the space between the knees. The feet are basically the same distance apart in width as a neutral bow, but may vary in depth depending on circumstances. Three facts explains its use. 1. The body drops in height, thereby giving power to your downward strikes, as it employs the principle of gravitational marriage, avoids an attack by going under it, or to help reach a low target. 2. As with most stance changes, there is usually a rotation of the hips and shoulders, which can boost the force of a horizontal strike. The combination of change in height plus the rotation will increase the effectiveness of a strike moving diagonally downward. 3. The rear knee drops down and may therefore act as a weapon, as a check or a pin, or as a push to buckle an opponent's leg. Although the wide kneel has greater stability, the fact remains that a close kneel can be extremely useful offensively as well as defensively. Both should not be overlooked, since they are definitely alphabets of motion that can help increase your vocabulary of motion. Wide kneel stance. The wide kneel stance is no more than a neutral bow with the rear knee dropped and forced out in the direction it was facing. There is no change in the positioning of the front leg or foot. However, the rear heel is raised off the ground to allow the knee to bend down further. Both knees are forced apart, hence the name wide kneel. The stance is quite low, the weight equally divided between the 2 feet, and the back is straight. Analytical study of the wide kneel. Front view. Keep your right arm low. Make sure your knees are forced apart. Have your weight equally distributed on both legs. Keep your eyes straight ahead. Keep your left arm high. Keep your forward foot position in the same positions as that of your left neutral bow. Top view. Keep your shoulders in line with your hips. Your rear leg is at a 30-degree angle to your line of sight. Keep your body parallel to the wall in front of you. Side view. Keep your back straight. Keep your buttocks tucked in. Make sure the heel of your right foot is off the ground. Keep the ball of your right foot on the ground. Keep your head erect. Place your hands and arms in guard position. Keep your left foot flat. Finding the proper dimensions. First, find the proper dimensions for a neutral bow. Now bend, drop, and force your rear knee out on a 30-degree angle from your upper body, which is vertical and erect. Make sure your rear knee is 1 hand span, your hand, from the ground. Although the width and depth of this stance is the same as a neutral bow, even though the rear heel is raised, a hand span measurement should aid you in obtaining the proper height for the stance. Data summation of the wide kneel. Foot position. Forward foot is at a 45-degree angle to your opponent. Rear foot at a 45-degree angle from your opponent, resting on the ground. Like a neutral bow, only your body drops in position. Weight distribution, 50-50. Rear knee is forced out. Reason and purpose. The drop in height gives added power, that is gravitational marriage, avoids an attack, gives you better access to low targets, can act as a pin or check, and gives greater stability. Close kneel stance. The close kneel stance is no more than a forward bow with the rear knee dropped 1 to 2 inches from the ground. The width remains the same, but the depth may fluctuate by sliding the rear foot forward on your line of sight. This, of course, would depend on the necessary adjustments needed at the time because of circumstance. Like the wide kneel, there is no change in the positioning of the front leg or foot, and the rear heel is also raised off the ground to allow the knee to bend freely. The forward knee is the only one forced out. The rear knee is kept in and close to the forward leg, hence the name, close kneel. The stance is exceedingly low. The weight equally divided between the 2 feet, and the back is straight. The close kneel is lower than the wide kneel, since the rear knee is kept closer to the ground. The weight, though equally distributed, is centered over the right knee. Analytical study of the close kneel. Front view. Keep your right arm low. Have your right knee brought straight down. Have your weight distributed equally on both legs. Keep your eyes straight ahead. Keep your left arm high. Force your left knee out. Your forward or left foot should be positioned identically to that of a left neutral bow. Top view. Your shoulders should be in line with your hips. Make sure your right leg is parallel to your line of sight. Line your body to that wall in front of you. Side view. Keep your back straight. Tuck your buttocks in. Raise your right heel off of the ground. Keep the ball of your right foot onto the ground. Keep your head erect. Make sure your arms and hands are in guard position. Keep your forward or left foot flat. Keep your right knee 1 to 2 inches off of the ground. Finding the proper dimensions. The first step is to find the proper dimensions for a forward bow. Once obtained, bend and drop your rear knee straight down toward the floor and about 1 to 2 inches from it. Make sure your rear knee does not touch the ground, although the width and depth of this stance is the same as a forward bow. Even though the rear heel is raised, having your rear knee 1 to 2 inches from the ground should aid you in obtaining the proper height for this stance. That is summation of the close kneel. Foot position. Forward foot is at a 45-degree angle to your opponent. Rear foot is at a 90-degree angle to your opponent, resting on the ball of the foot with the heel off of the ground. Rear foot may shuffle forward if an adjustment is needed, like the forward bow, only your body drops in position. Weight distribution, 50-50. Rear knee is dropped straight down so that it parallels the vertical angle of your head. Reason and purpose. The drop in height gives added power through gravitational marriage, avoids an attack, allows for better access to low targets, can act as a pin, check, or be used to fracture, and it also gives instant stability. The cat stance also consists of 2 types, 45-degree and 90-degree stances. In both of the cat stances, the forward leg rests lightly and is poised for a kick. Shifting the weight off of the front leg also provides a defense against a possible leg sweep. With approximately 90% of the body weight centered low and on the rear leg, it is this very strain on the rear leg that explains, in part, why these 2 types of cat stances are usually transitory. 45-degree cat. While executing the 45-degree cat stance, the rear foot is flat and points off to the side at a 45-degree angle with the knee bent, facing the same direction. Since the thighs in this stance are relatively close together, the 45-degree cat, when in transition, protects the groin. The ball of the front foot, while resting on the ground, is in line with the rear heel and placed far enough forward so the side view shows the angle of the forward leg to be a little less than vertical. Analytical study of the 45-degree cat. Front view. Keep your right arm low. Remain flat on your right foot. Keep 90% of your weight on your right foot. Your eyes and head should face straight ahead. Keep your left arm high. Keep your thighs relatively close together. Plant the ball of your left foot only. 10% of your weight should be on your left foot. Top view. Keep your body parallel to the wall in front of you. Your hips should be in line with your shoulders. Your right knee and foot should be on a 45-degree angle. Your left foot should be on a 90-degree angle. Side view. Keep your back straight. Keep your head erect. Have your buttocks tucked in and make sure that it sits low. Bend your right knee. Have your arms and hands in guard position. Bend your left knee. Make sure your left heel is raised off of the ground. Make sure that both of your feet are pointed away from you. Your left foot is on a 90-degree angle. Your right foot is on a 45-degree angle. Other helpful information. There are many variations of the cat stance. The primary difference generally involves the forward foot. Although very little weight is placed upon it, you may position the foot so that it rests on 1, the ball of the foot, 2, the flat of the foot, or 3, the heel of the foot. Regardless of what is used, they basically serve the same purpose. Special note, according to history, practitioners often place their bare feet on the ground in any one of the 3 variations demonstrated to feel the ground vibrations of approaching men or horses. Finding the proper dimensions. A helpful aid in finding the proper dimensions for a 45-degree cat is to again use the plus symbol to visually assist you. Position the rear foot so that the foot points out on a 45-degree angle. Place the heel of your forward foot against the heel of your rear foot. Now proceed to lift your forward foot and scratch a parallel and imaginary line where the big toe of that foot ends. Lift your forward foot and place the heel of that foot on the imaginary line that was just mentally drawn. Place 10% of your weight on the ball of your forward foot and lean back so that the remaining 90% of your weight rests on your rear leg. Data summation of the 45-degree cat. Foot position. The toes and foot of your forward leg are on a 90-degree angle to your opponent, with the rear foot at a 45-degree angle to your opponent. They are 45 degrees from each other. Weight distribution, 10-90. 10% of the weight is on the forward leg, 90% on the rear leg. Reason and purpose. Useful in transition. Poised for a kick. Better use against a frontal attack. Useful defensively as well as offensively. Forward leg cannot be easily upset by a sweep. 90-degree cat. The rear foot is flat when forming the 90-degree cat stance. However, the difference is the direction of the toes and foot, which point off to the side at a 90-degree angle with the knee bent in the same direction. The thighs in this case are not close together as a 45-degree cat. This stance normally occurs from a surprise flank attack where there isn't enough time for the rear foot to shift into a 45-degree angle. With time being the primary factor, the forward foot is the only leg that is activated. When this occurs, the rear foot remains at 90-degree angle to the forward foot. There is no protection to the groin because of the legs being so wide apart. Therefore, other hand positions are necessary to compensate for this. The ball of the front foot is also in line with the rear heel and placed far enough forward so that the side view shows the shin a little less than vertical. Analytical study of the 90-degree cat stance. Front view. Keep your right arm low. Make sure that your thighs are apart rather than together. Keep your right foot flat on the ground. Keep your eyes and head focused straight ahead. Keep your left arm high. Plant the ball of your left foot. Place 90% of your weight on your right foot. Place 10% of your weight on your left foot. Top view. Your body should be parallel to the wall in front of you. Line your hips up with your shoulders. Make sure your right knee and foot on a 90-degree angle. Side view. Keep your back straight. Keep your head erect. Keep your buttocks tucked in and make sure it sits low. Make sure that both feet are pointed away from you. Place your arms and hands in guard position. Keep your left knee bent. Raise your left heel off of the ground. Your left foot is also on a 90-degree angle. Your right foot is on a 90-degree angle also. Finding the proper dimensions. Again, visualize an imaginary plus sign. This time, have your rear foot point out on a 90-degree angle. As with the 45-degree cat stance, the heel of your forward foot is placed against the heel of your rear foot. Lift your forward foot and draw an imaginary line with the big toe of that same foot. Lift your forward foot and place the heel of that foot on the imaginary line that was mentally drawn. Place 10% of your weight on the ball of your forward foot and lean back and over your rear leg so that the remaining 90% of your weight rests on that leg. Data summation of the 90-degree cat. Foot position. The toes and foot of your forward leg is at a 90-degree angle from your opponent, with the rear foot parallel to your opponent, 90 degree to your forward foot and leg. Both are 90 degrees from each other. Weight distribution, 10-90. 10% of the weight is on the forward leg, 90% on the rear leg. Reason and purpose. This stance is useful in transition when you're poised for a kick. It is best used against a flank attack. It is useful defensively as well as offensively. It would be difficult to upset your forward leg with a sweep. The twist stance is of two types, front and rear. Both have numerous applications. They are more commonly used as a means to advance or retreat without rotating the trunk of the body, or they may be used as a stance change to protect the groin, to break a leg, to check, or when rotating out of the stance, they may be used to switch the forward and rear arms without shifting the feet. When assuming the stance, they can be used as a follow-through for a sweep or a kick, and on occasion, they may be used as deceptive moves when freestyling. Twist is a short term for twisted horse, so called because the stance can be readily formed from a horse stance by twisting the waist and allowing the feet to pivot freely. A good twist sits quite low and maintains half weight on the ball of the rear foot. With practice, both twist stances can be held comfortably, since strength comes from resting one knee on the calf of the other. Front twist. An easy method to form a front twist stance, other than twisting into it from a horse stance, is to start from a left neutral bow and have the rear or right foot slide directly forward and past the front foot, while the toes of the right foot continue to point off to the side. As your weight moves forward, the heel of the stationary or left leg comes off the ground, permitting the knee of the same leg to bend forward until it rests on the calf of the right leg. The right foot lies flat on the floor. The feet are now basically at right angles, a little less than the width of a horse stance apart. Once positioned in the front twist, the shoulders or hips do not rotate, and the maneuver prior to establishing the front twist is called a right front crossover. Analytical study of the front twist. Front view. Keep your eyes and head focused forward. Keep your right arm low. Keep your right foot flat. Distribute your weight equally on both legs and feet. Keep your left arm high. Have your left knee rest on your right calf. Do not allow any space between your legs. Have your left foot rest on the ball of the foot only. Top view. Keep your hips in line with your shoulders. Your right foot should also be parallel to the wall in front of you. Keep your upper torso on a 45-degree angle to the wall in front of you. Side view. Keep your back straight. Keep your buttocks tucked in. Bend your left knee and have it rest on the center of your right calf. Make sure your left heel is off of the ground. Keep your head erect. Place your arms and hands in guard position. Keep your right knee bent. Keep your forward foot flat and have it point out and away from you. Finding the proper dimensions. First, find the proper dimensions for a left neutral bow. Now slide the rear or right foot directly forward and past the front or left foot. so that it is approximately half the distance or width of what a horse stance would be for you. This maneuver will aid you in obtaining the proper width and depth of your front twist stance. To obtain the proper height, rest your left knee on the calf of your right leg and drop your body weight so that it securely rests on your right calf. Do not allow any space between your legs. Data summation of the front twist. Foot position. Forward foot is parallel to the opponent and placed flat on the floor. Rear foot is on a 45-degree angle to your opponent and on the ball of that foot. Weight distribution, 50-50. 50% of the weight is on the forward leg, 50% on the rear leg. Reason and purpose. Used in transition when going either forward or backward. Allows for a fast drop in height. Used to stop with. To conceal the rear leg prior to kicking with it. Protects the groin. Assists in breaking a leg as a check or used as a sweep. Rear twist. A rear twist stance can also be positioned from a left neutral ball by having your right foot slide directly to the back of and past and ahead of your left foot while the toes of your right foot continue pointing in the same direction. As the weight moves forward, your left foot remains flat as your right foot is planted on the ball of the foot. Have your right knee rest on the calf of your left leg. When the rear twist is produced in this manner, the shoulders or hips, like the front twist, do not rotate, and the maneuver prior to establishing the rear twist is called a right rear crossover. Analytical study of the rear twist. Front view. Guard with your left arm high and your right arm low. Keep your left foot flat. Balance your weight equally on both of your legs. Keep your eyes and head focused forward. Place your right knee on your left calf. Do not allow any space between your legs and thighs. Plant the ball of the foot only. Top view. Have your hips line up with your shoulders. Place your left foot on a 45-degree angle to the wall in front of you. Place your body on a 45-degree angle to the wall in front of you. Have your right foot face you in a vertical and upright position. Side view. Keep your back straight. Tuck your buttocks in and sit low. Bend your right knee. Keep your head erect. Place your arms and hands in guard position. Bend your left knee. Raise your right heel off of the ground. Have your right foot point in and toward you. Have your left foot point away from you. Finding the proper dimensions. Like the front twist, find the proper dimensions of a left neutral ball. This time, slide your right foot directly to the back of and past and ahead of your left foot, so that it again travels approximately half the distance or width of a horse stance as it pertains to you. This maneuver will aid you in obtaining the proper width and depth of your rear twist stance. From this position, drop your body weight so that your right knee rests securely on top of your left calf. Thus, your proper height is obtained. Data summation of the rear twist. Foot position. Forward foot or lead foot is at a 45-degree angle from your opponent, resting on the ball of that foot. Your rear foot, which is originally the forward foot, is parallel to your opponent and rests flat. Weight distribution, 50-50. 50% of the weight is on the forward leg and 50% on the rear leg. Reason and purpose. Used in transition when going either forward or backward, allowing for a fast drop in height. Used to stop with, to break or check, and to protect the groin. one-leg stance can be formed several ways. The name is self-explanatory. However, what constitutes a right or left one-leg stance does differ from the other stances learned in this tape. In this case, it is a supporting leg, the leg bearing the body weight, that determines a right or left one-leg stance. The airborne leg, the leg which is raised, is not used as a determining factor because of the numerous positions, directions, and heights it can be placed in. The one-leg stance is commonly used while jumping from side to side to avoid a frontal or rear attack. It may arise out of a cat stance to avoid a leg sweep. Generally, it is a very useful transitory stance while shifting from one stance to another. On occasion, it may be used deceptively while freestyling. The hand positions can also vary depending upon the positions used when forming a one-leg stance. Important note: a one-leg stance can be formed by raising the rear leg instead of the forward leg. It does not have to be the forward leg. Analytical study of the one-leg stance. Front view. Keep your right arm low. Keep your eyes and head focused straight ahead. Keep your left arm high. Lift your left leg up and in the air. Keep your right foot flat. 100% of your weight is on your right foot. Top view. Keep your hips in line with your shoulders. Keep your body parallel to the wall in front of you. Make sure your right knee and foot are on a 45-degree angle. Position your left knee on a 90-degree angle. Side view. Keep your back straight. Keep your head erect. Make sure your arms and hands are in guard position. Keep your buttocks tucked in and have it sit low. Bend your right knee. Bend your left knee and raise it to waist level. Make sure both feet are pointed away from you. Even with your left foot in the air, it should still face on a 90-degree angle. Position your right foot on a 45-degree angle. Finding the proper dimensions. Two of the dimensions, width and depth, are missing. Height is really your only concern in executing a one-leg stance. In executing a one-leg stance, bend your supporting leg to a comfortable and balanced position and maintain it. Make sure that your entire weight is centered on your supporting leg. You can execute a one-leg stance from any of the stances mentioned in this videotape. Cock your suspended leg to any height or position. Turn your head in any direction and place your hands and arms in any position. You would still be positioned in a one-leg stance. That is summation of the one-leg stance. Foot position. Your leg is suspended and your knee points to the left or right. The rear leg is bent with the foot at a 45-degree angle from a left neutral ball to your opponent. The rear leg can be raised instead of the forward leg if desired. Weight distribution. 100% on your supporting leg. Reason and purpose. Use more to protect the groin area. Utilizes economy of motion when executing a side kick with the leg that is suspended in the air. The two specialized stances are the concave and the diamond stances. Because they are transitory stances used to heighten as well as support the effects of a technique, they will be demonstrated and not explained as heretofore presented. The technique leap of death demonstrates both the diamond and concave stances. The technique also employs a number of the stances previously discussed and how the clock principle satisfactorily pinpoints direction. Please note the employment of the left transitory neutral bow, left reverse bow, left forward bow, left close kneel, and right close kneel stances. Leap of death is for a front right step through straight punch. The technique requires that you step back with your right foot towards 6 o'clock into a left transitional neutral bow facing 12 o'clock. As you step back with your right foot, execute a right outward parry to the outside of your opponent's right punch. Continue to ride the force of your opponent's punch by pivoting in a left reverse bow. Simultaneous with your pivot, have your right hand grab your opponent's right wrist while delivering a left inward horizontal heel palm strike under and to the outside of your opponent's right elbow. The explosive flow of your action should guide your opponent diagonally and down past your right hip. Instantly reverse the flow of your action as you pivot counterclockwise into a left forward bow facing 12 o'clock. As you pivot, maintain control of your opponent's right wrist with your right hand while simultaneously delivering a left outward back knuckle strike to your opponent's right lower rib cage. Again, reverse the flow of your action as you pivot clockwise into a left reverse bow facing 12 o'clock. As you pivot, maintain control of the opponent's right wrist while simultaneously delivering a left inward heel palm strike to the back of his right shoulder. The explosive flow of your action should jerk your opponent diagonally and down to the ground. Leap into the air toward your opponent with both feet cocked under you and with both of your hands cocked to the sides of your chest, palm up in begging fashion, preparatory to executing your specialized diamond stance. Land in a diamond stance on your opponent so that the heels of both feet strike to your opponent's kidneys, right heel to right kidney, left heel to left kidney. Immediately slide both heels off your opponent's kidneys. Using quarter beat timing, take advantage of your opponent's body reaction by executing simultaneous heel palm strikes to the back of your opponent's mastoids, right heel palm to right mastoid, left heel palm to left mastoid. This should stun your opponent as well as drive his face into the ground. From the reaction of your opponent's face hitting the ground and bouncing back up, slip both of your hands along your opponent's face and under his chin. Immediately switch into a concave stance as you pull up and toward you with both of your hands, using your knees to brace down and against your opponent's shoulder blades. The intention here is to stretch your opponent's neck and throat to their limits. Without disengaging from your opponent, twist his head and neck clockwise to snap his neck. This is accomplished by pulling up and against your opponent's chin with your right hand and pushing down on the back of your opponent's head with your left hand. With your right hand now cocked to your right ear, palm out, and your left hand pushing your opponent's head down, immediately follow up by pivoting to a left close kneel stance as you deliver a right inward handsword to the bridge of your opponent's nose. This should break his nose. Switch into a right close kneel stance as you drop your left knee onto your opponent's upper spine. With this action, simultaneously execute a left hand push to the back of your opponent's head to again force his face to the ground. Using your opponent's body as a springboard, bounce up, leap, and turn your body counterclockwise in midair. Using the synchronization of your rotational force and marriage of gravity, land with your left foot to the right of your opponent's body as you deliver a right downward looping roundhouse kick to your opponent's head. Be sure to bend your left knee deeply when executing your right roundhouse kick. From the point of contact of your right kick, execute a right front crossover and cover out twice toward 1030. The designation of a left or right stance is determined by the lead or forward leg as well as the direction you are facing in the case of both head and eyes at the time each stance is established. The only exception rests with the one-leg stance. Because the suspended leg can be found in a number of positions and directions, it is the supporting leg that determines whether the one-leg stance is left or right.
I hope you have enjoyed Sophisticated Basics 1. Review the many methods of study discussed, as well as the stances illustrated, by rewinding the tape as often as required. This can help your training immensely and assist you in achieving your goals more expeditiously. Grasp the rearrangement concepts, along with the many methods discussed, and you will establish good, solid basics. To do so will aid you in converting embryonic movements to sophisticated movements. Obviously, there are many approaches to teaching basics. Whatever the approach, I admonish you to follow a progressive lesson plan geared to individual ability. Determine your strong points as well as those that come naturally. Then proceed to cultivate these positive attributes first. An important reminder, the information contained in this and future tapes covers a vast array of experiences. It is for the novice as well as the advanced practitioners. Therefore, you are cautioned to practice only those exercises paralleling your ability and skill.